Okay, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Tara Lynn Hester, and I am our district's Family and Community Engagement Coordinator. We thank you guys so much for your attendance at tonight's DPAC meeting. We are so happy that you could join us. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, if you haven't signed in, please remember to sign in. The link is in the chat. So just be mindful of that. And again, welcome. Our agenda for tonight is as follows. We're going to have a welcome followed by introductions. We're going to have greetings and we have a quick group connector. We're going to look at our school strategic plan, talk about DPAC, talk about Title I overview, federal monies, district updates, and the real meat of tonight's or this evening's session is I really want you guys to take a look at the parent family engagement policy. We're going to provide some feedback and do a little work with that. We're going to wrap it up, and then we are going to discuss our next meeting. And at the closure of tonight's session, there will be a feedback form that I will ask for you to complete. So we will start with a welcome greetings from Dr. Stan Winn. He is our assistant superintendent of curriculum and instruction of student services and public information officer for Granville County Public Schools. If he is here, I will give him this opportunity to take the floor, and then we will continue on our agenda as planned.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hester. I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, first, I'd just like to thank you, Ms. Hester, for organizing this event. I am so excited to have you join our district and lead the effort to forge these partnerships with the community and our families. You're doing a wonderful job, and I thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you.
I would just like to say hello to everyone who's here tonight on behalf of our superintendent, Dr. McLean, as well, and let you know that we are excited about being in school this year. It's wonderful to have the children back in school 5 days a week. That being said, we know there are many challenges right now. It's a lot to try to navigate through this pandemic that doesn't ever seem to want to go away. But our educators are doing a magnificent job. And we're so proud of our teachers, our support staff, our bus drivers, our cafeteria workers, our custodians, our administrators. Just from top to bottom, everyone is really giving it a hero's effort, and we so appreciate that. And we thank you, parents, for your support of our schools, and just really appreciate your patience as we continue to do the very best we can given the difficult circumstances. So we stand ready to serve you, and we are here to listen and to provide information. I would encourage you, if you have topics that you'd like Ms. Hester to schedule in future events, let her know. Let us know. We'll be sure to add them. So that's all I have, Ms. Hester. I just want to thank you so much for making this happen tonight, and thank everyone for participating.
All right. Thank you so much again, Dr. Wimborne, for bringing greetings to our families this evening.
Yes, ma'am.
We will continue on our agenda as follows. I wanted to start with a quick group connector. And so I want you to be creative as you like. So if you had to describe how you're feeling right now, whether it's with the school year, about the school year, about work, about anything, I'm going to count to 3. And in the chat, think of a candy bar or a piece of candy that describes how you feel right now. So I'll give you a second to think about it. And I'm going to say 1, 2, 3. And on 3, we're going to do like a huge waterfall in the chat. Everybody just type your answers. and we can kind of talk about it for a second and then we'll move forward. So the purpose of this group connector is just to identify and just kind of realize that regardless of how we feel, whether it's something good, bad, or indifferent, we're all in here together. And when we work together and collaborate, we can make things happen. So it's just a quick pulse, a quick pulse check just to see how you're feeling. So think about it. And then on 3, record how you're feeling to describe yourself at this very moment in just a second. So get ready. All right. 1, 2, 3. Everybody put in. Ooh, I like it. I see a lot of Snickers. I see M&M's, Crunch, Twizzlers, sweet and sour Snickers, Starburst. I like it. Good deal. Twix. Ms. Wortham said Twix because there needs to be 2 of me. I can relate. I love it. Dr. Thompson said, sorry, she cheated. Okay. I love it. I love these answers. So whether you are filled with joy and you are snickering and laughing, or sometimes we feel torn, we need 2 of us with a Twix. Regardless of how you're feeling at this very moment, just know that we are in this together. We are here to collaborate. We are here to build. We are here to grow. And your input in how you're feeling is important. And we look forward to working with you this year to make this the best DPAC experience Granville County Public Schools has ever seen. So thank you guys for sharing and providing your input with us this evening. As we continue, we're going to briefly look at Granville County Public Schools strategic plan overview. So I'm going to click there just for a moment. And the purpose of this overview is one thing in particular that I wanted to point out is that with DPAC, the purpose of DPAC and our vision is aligned to the communication and community target. That's one of our 5 strategic priorities with Granville County Public Schools. So if you look at the communication and community thread or that target, it says that we will foster meaningful relationships within our community, listening and communicating intentionally and effectively with students, parents, businesses, and other stakeholders. So having said that, that is the alignment between DPAC and Granville County Public Schools strategic plan. And that plan, families, it is available on our website, okay? In addition to that, I wanted to discuss the purpose of our meeting. So the purpose of our meeting this evening, we want to inform you about additional parent meetings and meeting times. We want you to know that you can request to meet in reference to decisions relating to the education of your children. And we want you to also know that you are entitled to receive family engagement training session dates and times, and also any materials and tools that you and your child need to be successful throughout the school year. So some of our goals of DPAC is that we want to meet annually to evaluate the content and effectiveness of the parent and family engagement policy and program. We want to identify barriers to participation in parent engagement. We also want to identify the needs of parents so that we can assist you with the learning of your children, as well as create strategies to support successful school family interactions. In addition to that, and what our action steps include is conducting questionnaires and surveys. And you may have already received a survey from me in August asking you about parent university sessions and things that were of interest to you. With that data, I was able to create parent university sessions for the duration of our school year. In addition to that, you may be asked to do face-to-face meetings And just understand that because of the nature of the pandemic, there's some flexibility with our face-to-face. So there may be Zoom in addition to face-to-face, but we will keep you posted as we proceed to move throughout the year. And in a nutshell, what we want to know is that your voice and your input is important, right? We want to make sure that you know that your voices are heard, and that in turn that we're doing action steps as a result of your voice and how you're feeling. So DPAC stands for District Parent Advisory Council, and we are going to meet 4 times a year. Those dates have already been identified, and I will share the next meeting date with you at the conclusion or near the end of our meeting. And so our DPAC parents and you guys represent our district's Title I schools, and you have a role as well. So we need your help in reviewing and revising our Granville County Public Schools parent and family engagement policy. We also want you guys to provide feedback into the district's Title I plan and the federal budget priorities, in addition to providing input and collaboration on matters concerning our future parent university events. This is a quick brochure of DPAC. This is the front, and this is the back, and it just goes into detail, speaking more to what our DPAC advisory committee, what it entails. So from this slide here, we will talk about Title I Part A program, and I'm going to open the floor up to Mrs. Shelby Hunt, who will describe this slide in the next few slides.
Hello, everyone. I am Shelby Hunt. I am the Grants Manager and Special Projects Manager for the district. So I will be sharing a little bit with you about Title I and why is the school, your child's school, participating in a Title I school. The program is intended to improve student academic achievement and also to provide evidence-based strategies to support parents and families through our family engagement programs. Also, the school-wide programs will provide comprehensive support to offer or improve the opportunities for our students in the school to meet the school system's academic standards. So what is the purpose of Title I? The purpose of Title I is to provide all of our children significant opportunities to receive a fair and equitable and high quality education and to close the educational achievement gaps. So our schools who are receiving these funds, federal funds, are required to provide services that raise the academic achievement for all students in K-12. Additional support may be provided through professional development and health and guidance services. Parents of children being served have the opportunity to participate in the design and implementation of the program through activities such as serving on the school site council, developing parental involvement policies and compacts, attending your child's parent-teacher conferences, attending parent training and literacy workshops, and also participating as classroom volunteers when that time comes, as well as tutors and aides to our students. For our district Title I plan, it addresses how our district will use the funds. So our top priorities are to make sure that we are including high quality student academic assessments, making sure that our supplemental services to assist our struggling students, coordination and integration of federal funds and programs, strategies to implement effective parent and family engagement across the district. And also Title I Part A parents have the right to be involved in the development of this plan.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Hunt, for highlighting our Title I program and its requirements. At this time, I want to briefly talk about the difference between parent involvement and then parent and family engagement. So parent involvement is often more of a doing to, while engagement is a doing with. So with involvement, schools tend to lean with their mouth and generally tell the parents what they should be doing. But engagement, on the other hand, looks quite different. It has schools leading with their ears. And I really like that last sentence. That really spoke volumes for me. And so when we're involving parents, you guys are generally directed towards completing a task that's been selected by a school. And when we are engaging parents, the parent is considered a potential leader who is integral to identifying a vision and goals. We want our DPAC parents to be engaged. We want you guys to be leaders, and we want to create platforms and opportunities for our parents to lead. We want you to know that you do have a voice and that we are listening, and that as a result of you sharing your feedback and your collaboration, that we're going to put a plan into action and make sure that all parties are benefiting, parents, students, and district stakeholders alike. So you guys are the heartbeat of our DPAC, as well as our parent and family engagement efforts. So when we think about our annual Title I meeting, so this is a requirement. All schools that receive Title I Part A funds are required to convene an annual Title I Part A parent meeting. And with that meeting, we are informing parents of your school's participation, letting you know that your child's school is, in fact, a Title I school. We are going to explain the requirements of our Title I Part A program. And we're also going to explain the rights of parents, because as a parent with a child in a Title I school, you are afforded various rights. And we want to make you aware of what those rights are and what your role is as a parent, and be able to create a dialogue so that you understand what the rights of parents look like and what that includes. When we talk about our policy, our parent and family engagement policy, this policy is discussed in an annual meeting, which we are having this evening. And it involves you, parents. It involves you planning, reviewing, evaluating, and helping us to improve the policy. We want your feedback on how our parent and family engagement policy can be better. So in just a little bit, we're going to look at that policy, and we want you to speak to what sounds good to you, what works, what changes do we need, what's going to best fit the needs of you and your children. We also want to provide timely information about various activities that will be taking place. We also want to make you guys informed about curriculum and assessment. And if requested, we can provide additional meetings to discuss decisions and educations for your child. So it's going to be imperative that at the end, I have a contact slide with all of my information. If you need me, please do not hesitate to get in contact with me if you need additional support or additional meetings to meet your needs. So one of the requirements is that we have a school parent contact, a parent compact form. And with the compact forms, they are required. Okay, so you should have received by now a parent compact form that was sent home by your child, identifying the roles of you, as well as your school and your teacher and all of that good stuff. So if for some reason you have not received your compact, please reach out to me and I can work alongside the principal and or assistant principals at your school to make sure that you have that compact information. Also, as a parent, you are entitled to parent-teacher conferences in addition to receiving your compact agreements. So the compact is just a written agreement. It describes how parents and families and school staff and students share the responsibility for improved student academic achievement. Pretty much it says that we are all working together to best meet the needs of you and your child. And you have the right to be involved in the school parent compact. Your input is always important, okay? At this time, I am going to open the floor up to Dr. Thompson. She is our Senior Director of Federal Programs and Strategic Innovation with Granville County Public Schools. And she will speak more in depth to the allocation of consolidated federal funding and how are our funds distributed. So without further ado, I'll open the floor up to Dr. Thompson.
Thank you, Ms. Hester, and thank you, parents, for joining us this evening and your willingness to serve on our District Parent Advisory Committee. Ms. Hester and Ms. Hunt have done a wonderful job of sharing the overview for Title I and the work of our DPAC. And tonight I'm here to just talk about the funding around the work we'll do together throughout the year in DPAC. You all are going to be an essential part of our work with federal supplemental federal spending and federal programming. So your presence and your input are really critical components around developing our funding priorities. And so while we will typically, as a DPAC, work around our normal federal spending, which we call our consolidated programs, because of where we are in the midst of this pandemic, each school district in the state of North Carolina received emergency funding, which is called ESSER funds. And so a lot of the work that we'll do this year, your input and your insight around funding priorities will also help us to establish those emergency funding plans and those spending priorities as well. But for tonight's purposes, we are just going to look at our federal spending priorities for the 21-22 academic school year. If you'll go to the next slide. So our district, like other districts in our state, received what's called a consolidated federal program application. And so we receive funds from 5 different funding sources, and those are called title programs. So titles 1, 2, 3, and 4. And tonight, I will guide you all through understanding those programs and the funding allocations that we've received so far and how we've prioritized our spending thus far. I want to tell you though that while we submit an application that's approved by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, it is a very fluid process in that if once we determine a priority, if something else happens and we feel the need to make an adjustment to our plan, we can certainly do that. So again, we'll meet throughout the year as a DPAC and you all will help inform our thinking around those priorities. So to get us started, I want to talk about Title I Part A. That is the largest of our federal grants. The purpose is to provide supplemental assistance for our schools that serve a high percentage of low-income students and families to ensure that all students in our district are able to meet state standards. The second program is our Title II Part A program, and that provides districts with supplemental supports to build teacher and principal capacity and really focus on developing quality educators in our district. Our Title III program has 2 components. The first component is around language acquisition, and those funds are provided to districts to help support and ensure our English learners are able to achieve English language proficiency and able to master our state standards as well. And then the second component of the Title III program is the language acquisition significant increase. And those funds are designed to help support our students who may be newcomers to the United States or who may be immigrants. And then lastly, we receive Title IV Part A funds, and those funds are used to provide students with opportunities to become well-rounded students. And it also focuses on safety and well-being as well as technology. So a variety of uses for those. And this year, you'll see on the slide that in all, our total consolidated application package was about a little over $2.9 million, which was a bit of an increase from last year's allotment. What we're going to do now is actually walk through each of the programs and give you a little bit more insight around our priorities. So again, the first is Title I. And while Title I is the largest of the consolidated applications, our Title I funds are somewhat split. We can use those funds to support some of our district-wide initiatives, but the majority of those funds are sent back to our Title I schools, which your children attend. And we have 10 of those schools in our district. And each school receives an allocation each year that may vary each year, and is based on the poverty rate at their school and their overall student enrollment. So the majority of our Title I schools spend their funding on staffing, so ensuring we have quality teachers in the classroom, enough to reduce class size a bit. And then any remaining funding after that staffing is allotted, principals have the autonomy to determine how those funds are spent. And they work with their school improvement teams and their parents as well to determine how to prioritize those funds. So your principals, if they haven't already, should be reaching out to talk about establishing those school improvement teams and finding parents to help represent. You can see here on the slide each school's total allocation for this school year. And you see the overall total is a little over $1 million that we have used to give back to our Title I schools to support the work at the school level. The next slide, please. Each school, a part of that allocation from our overall district spending, again, is sent to schools to just focus on school-wide initiatives to support students. But then each school also receives a separate pot of money. And that pot of money also comes off the top of our district overall allocation. But our district has to reserve 1% of our overall allotment each year to help facilitate parent and family engagement. And so from that 1%, 90% of that is sent back to the schools. So there's a separate pot that each school receives. And then the remainder of that helps to support district-wide parent and family engagement initiatives. And so this year, each school received $8 per low-income student to support parent and family engagement efforts. So again, we ask our parents to be involved in helping us to determine that those funding priorities, not only at our district level through DPAC, but also at our school, in our schools, our Title I schools, to help ensure that those funds are being used most appropriately and it meets the needs of the families. All right, next slide, please. So the next slide, again, is still about Title I because it's our biggest pot. But what you can see on this slide is our primary set-asides or our primary priorities with our district-wide Title I funding. So we have some required reservations, like I've talked about the requirements around parent and family engagement spending. We also have to set aside funds to support our homeless and foster care students, as well as to support our neglected and delinquent programs. Another funding priority is our pre-K classrooms. You can see the total amount spent there. We also have a set aside called a district initiative, and you can see a significant amount of money is placed in that line item. That supports a lot of salaries for our coaches and our coordinators to help in the classrooms, help develop our teachers. We also spend a great deal of that amount on resources to ensure that we have supplemental resources in each of our classrooms. And then finally, you can see we also, well, not finally, sorry, we also use some of that funding for technology and supporting technology efforts across our district. And then finally, to support recruitment and retention for our teachers to keep those, to get good teachers in our classroom and then to also keep them. And then with each federal program, you will see we are required to set aside some funding to provide to ensure we can pay for the administration of the program. There are just certain things you have to do in grant monitoring and grant compliance. And so each of our federal programs, you will see that as a set aside. All right, next slide. Title II. So our Title II has several different set asides as well. You'll see that one of our first primary set asides is focusing on educator quality. So we use some of that funding to provide professional development for both our principals and our teachers. We also pay for some personnel, again, support coaches to go into classrooms as well. We spend a great deal of our Title II funds on supporting our beginning teachers and using those funds to also leverage that recruitment and retention. Again, using those supplemental funds to really make sure we have the right people in the classrooms teaching our children. And then again, you see that administration set aside, again, each grant, we have to set aside costs for those things. I will note, just so everyone knows, this is a question that typically comes up. You'll see that equitable services is there. Our district funds not only support our school district and the low income students in our district, but any private schools in our community also receive a portion of our funding. And so in Title I, it was there. Title II, you'll also see it there. We support the Christian Faith Center financially as well through our federal programs that we receive in our county. So I do just want to make sure that's clear, that some of that administration costs also it flows through to the private schools in our community. All right, the next slide, please. All right, perfect. Sorry. Title III. So our Title III set asides, again, is about supporting our English learners in our district. And so our ESL program absolutely needs these supplemental funds to ensure that we can hire additional teachers and additional support staff to ensure we can meet the specialized needs of our students in that ESL program. And you can see here that a lot of that, again, is spent on staffing and professional development associated with our English learners. And then lastly, we have our Title IV program. You can go to the next slide, perfect. Our Title IV, again, is a unique program in that we can address several different needs. In this, you'll also see that there are certain minimums. So the federal government requires that we set aside a minimum of 20% of our total allocation to safe and healthy students, to support safe and healthy students, which we do that right now by primarily focusing on funding a social worker in our district. And also right now, because of the pandemic, we're using a portion of those funds to ensure that our students who do not have access to the internet are able to access the work through MiFi devices and service as well. Another set aside for the Title IV program is the well-rounded education. And so we support a lot of our choice programs through that portion of the set aside. We also have some instructional coaching and coordination around those choice programs. And also you'll see here just ensuring that arts and band are focus areas in our district. Again, federal programs are supplemental. So we want to make sure that they are, that we are providing that, additional support and additional programming that we would not be able to use or to have if we had to use only our state or local funding to do so. And then the last portion of our Title IV program is the effective use of technology. And you can see there, it's not a significant amount of money, but we do use that again to provide some software support for our students that again, we would not be able to provide just through our state and local funding. One of those aspects is what we're using for our health screenings, or what we use for our health screenings, and to help us just ensure that we are able to communicate data effectively to our families as much as possible. So again, our federal programs are used for that supplemental support and supplemental programming that we wouldn't be able to provide if we did not have these funds. And so again, as our DPAC, as we go throughout the year, as you all come up with these wonderful and innovative ideas, we're going to be listening, because there will be places where we can then prioritize differently and have conversation around how funding can be used to meet the needs that we address in our meetings. So thank you so much, Ms. Hester.
Thank you so much, Dr. Thompson, for that information. I do want to pause just for a second just to see if we have any questions from our parents before we move on to the next section.
Yes, ma'am. I have two questions. Hi, I'm Teresa Sproul and
Hi,
part
Ms.
of.
Cole.
Hey, how are you all doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good. I had a couple of questions for you. My first one was, how are federal funds for the public school system used for a private school like Christian Faith Center instead of going into our public schools and it's federal funding?
So that is one of the requirements from the federal government, that the funds are seen as county-wide funds and not just school district funds. So it's to support low-income students in our county. And so since private schools serve students in our county as well, we are to use those funds to support those students.
So a school with tuition has low-income children in it, and their tuition, I'm assuming, because of his low income, they can't afford tuition. So are they on scholarship or something, and that's how they're able to be funded?
Yes, ma'am. That is, we can only provide funding to students who receive that opportunity scholarship.
Okay, I understand now. And then my other question was, with COVID going on now and all of our kids being out here, we're still all waiting, for that vaccine, but this school system's trying to go on and have the children in person. Can any of the funds be used for wipes? Because I know personally, as PTO at our school, mothers ourselves have been putting out for wipes, and we will provide this entire year with money out of our own pockets to help protect our teachers and our students to keep them healthy so they won't be out. Is there any funding that can be allowed for that this particular year with COVID and no vaccine available for elementary kids?
Yes, ma'am. So there are two different pots of money. So again, tonight we focus primarily on our consolidated programs. And so yes, wipes would be an allowable expense from that parent and family engagement set aside. However, our district is really utilizing our emergency relief funding because of COVID that we received to help with more of the safety, health and safety, and mitigating the spread of the disease. We're really using those funds, and we just didn't go into a great detail about that funding source or those funding sources tonight, but there are funds available to help with that. So that is definitely duly noted, and we'll take that back.
Yes, if I could apply, I am. We
Dr.
took
Thompson, if I
run
may.
the PT store, but just the idea. I understand there's so much you doing as a district, so many schools you providing for, but it would be nice maybe if you had something monthly to give out to the schools, even if it's $25. Any of that would just help. Just something to consider. It doesn't have to be a large amount, but it would really help right now.
Right.
Ms. Sproul, yes, Ms. Sproul, this is Stan Winborn. I want to thank you. How are you?
You doing all right? Them twins and that child in college, everybody's still all right over there?
Yes, ma'am.
I got to check on you. We mom and dad first, so I'm talking to the dad, Mr. Winborn. You all right?
That's
Dad?
right. That's right. I've got my dad hat on.
You don't put on the other hat, but I had to check on you as a parent. We all got a net, we got to hold each other up right now with COVID going on, y'all.
You know it. Well, I'm so glad you brought up the part about, our battle with COVID, because you are right. Parents have just given so much to schools. And I know, I was at a couple of elementary schools on the first day, and I was helping parents and children get out of their cars, and they were loaded down with wipes and all kinds of things. And I want parents to know that as a district, we do have a more than ample supply of disinfectant, and we have some these like backpack machines that we go around and disinfect the schools on a very frequent basis with that disinfectant. So the wipes are great; they help a lot, but we are equipped also to handle it. But your point is taken about just spreading the love a little bit with the schools.
Yeah, we're PTO now. They email or call. They know if they call, we jump. And
Yep.
The our teachers wanted that, our 55 staff, and we provided. And parents do great the first day. And I let them know at our first PTO meeting where new people are joining, it's the first day though.
Yep.
You know, you got 10 months out of
It
the
is.
year.
It is. It's a
We
long
don't
year.
want our we don't want our teachers coming out their pocket. They already give so much of themselves, and their check doesn't need to go and all of that. So just something to consider, and don't think, oh, it has to be a large amount. Any of that, just something to consider. You know,
Yes,
you
ma'am.
all. So I understand.
Good point. Thank you.
Great point. Great point. Thank you so much, Ms. Sproul and Dr. Thompson and Dr. Wimborne. I would be remiss if I didn't point out that we also have Ms. Laura Gable in attendance with us this evening. She is our district interpreter. And, I want to make sure that we are being inclusive and intentional with all our parents. So, Ms. Gable, we are happy that you are in attendance with us as well. And if you would like to share any information, please feel free to do so now. If not, we just thank you for being in attendance with us this evening. It is great to have you on our call.
Happy to be here, and always looking for ways to help our parents who may not always be able to attend in person. So thanks, Ms. Hester.
You are quite welcome. Thank you. Anytime. Moving forward, parents and families, I want to be cognizant of your time and respectful of your time. This right now we were going to give district updates, and pretty much I was just going to just remind you to be on the lookout for our parent university newsletter that highlights some of the exciting things that are going on in the district. Right now, you can find our district newsletter on our website. So if you have not checked out our Granville County Public Schools website, please go there and look for the Pulse, where you guys are the heart of our community. Has anyone, I'm just curious, have you ran by it or have you seen the? Okay. Make sure you check that out. It is on our website. And as of today, we have over 5,000 views for our S'mores newsletter. So it's very informative and it keeps you in the loop. So check that out if you have not already done so.
Can you put it in the chat, Ms. Hester?
Absolutely. I can do that. Yes, ma'am. I'll put that link there.
Thank y'all so much.
You're welcome. And in addition to that, I want to jump into our parent and family engagement policy, which is kind of the meat of what I wanted to focus on this evening. So this is a chance for you guys as our families to get involved and let us know your feedback, okay? So this is our current parent and family engagement policy for our 2021 school year. And I'm just going to scroll down and read it, kind of chunk it a little bit for sake of time. And if we aren't able to complete it tonight in its entirety, we can pick it up at our next meeting. But I put in the email invite that I wanted you guys to go ahead and start taking a look at the policy, and you may or may not have had an opportunity to do so, but it's okay. So as it reads now, I'm just going to look at that first part, and this is really informal right now. So if you have anything that you want to add, omit, change, please let me know, and I am happy to make those adjustments. So this first section is just like an intro, and it says Granville County Public Schools, it recognizes the value of family engagement in child's academic success and believes that the education of children is an ongoing cooperative partnership between the home and the school. Parents and other family members are their children's first teachers. Therefore, the continued involvement of parents and family members in the educational process is most important in fostering and improving educational achievement. School system officials shall strive to support parents and provide parents and family members with meaningful opportunities to become involved in the programs offered by the Title I schools. Granville County Public Schools encourage parents and family members to participate in the design and implementation of the programs and activities in order to increase the effectiveness of the school system's Title I program in helping students meet state and local achievement standards. Is there anything in that section that speaks to you, that stands out, something you feel we need to amend and or change? This is your opportunity now. Please feel free to just start talking. If you like, just feel free to jump in. If not, then I'll move on to the next session, but I kind of let you review it for a moment. If as a group, we can agree that we can move forward, then we'll move forward. Okay, does it look all right? Okay, I don't hear any nays, so I'll move forward. If you want to use your reaction button and give me a thumbs up, then that'll be good. Okay, thank you. Oh, nice. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, let's look at part A. It says definition of parent and family engagement. So what does that mean? What does that look like? So the purpose of this policy, and with the term parent and family engagement, means the participation of parents, guardians, and other family members in regular two-way and meaningful communication involving student learning and other school activities, including ensuring the following. So I'm going to pause right here for a second, and I'll give you a moment to just read over sections A and B, and then provide me with any feedback you feel that's deemed necessary. And I'm also going to check the chat. Okay, looks good. Thank you. So we are ensuring that parents and family members play an integral role in assisting their child's learning. We are also ensuring that parents and family members are encouraged to be actively involved in their child's education at school. Parents are full partners in your child's education, and parents and family members are included as appropriate in decision-making and on advisory committees to assist in the education of your child. And the school system utilizes activities to support parent and family engagement in the Title I programs. So that was A, with the definition of parent engagement. Should we add anything? Should we omit anything? Anything that you want to change? And I'll look at the chat. Okay. All right. Let's look at part B, the purpose and operation of our Title I program. So the Title I program is a federally supported program. It offers assistance to the educationally and economically disadvantaged children to help ensure that they receive an equitable, high quality, well-rounded education and meet the school system's challenging academic standards. The Title I program provides instructional activities and supportive services to eligible students over and above those provided by the regular school program. Any changes? Any amendments? Any feedback? If you are pleased with A and B as it stands, please use your thumbs up reaction, and we will move on to the next section. If you need more time, just let me know. I see thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. See a lot of thumbs up. Thank you. Does anyone need additional time? Okay. A and B will remain as written. In addition, Part B continues, and it says that qualified Title I schools will operate as a school-wide program, and I'll let you read the remaining portion of B and C, okay? And then we'll talk about it. For B, it's saying that school-wide programs will provide comprehensive support to offer improved opportunities for all students in the school to meet the school system's academic standards. Targeted assistant programs will provide services to eligible students most in need of assistance in the school as determined by objective criteria established by the superintendent or designee. Eligibility criteria may include, for example, standardized test scores, teacher judgment, and results of preschool screening and homeschool surveys. Both school-wide and targeted assistant programs shall be based on effective means of improving student achievement and shall include evidence-based strategies to support parent and family engagement. Do you think there's any language we need to change? Is there something that you want to add? Do you have any feedback that you want to include? Is there a portion that doesn't make sense or perhaps you need more clarity on? This is your opportunity. This is your platform to speak.
I do have a question. The way the wording is, or it's like the spirit of it is like, if your child is behind, we will assist. Or the funds are only for if a child's behind. Can the funds be for if the child is on and ahead and behind? Because we want to blaze all of them forward, you know, whatever level they are. Is that what this really means? Only children behind somewhat? You know, it just seems like that from the word, and that's all I'm asking.
So the purpose of Title I, right, for these programs is to help kids who are helping to fill those gaps, right? So we want to meet the needs of all students, and students who are performing on grade level, we absolutely want to propel them to the next level, but we also want to be intentional in our efforts of closing the gaps of our students who are not performing on grade level, okay? Dr. Thompson, do you want to speak more to that, or?
Like, I understand definitely, you know, with the income levels and so forth, but is it only going, because all parents are reading this, you know? You have some people that had kids that aren't parents too. All right, then you got parents. Okay, I understand. And as a school system, you're trying to pull those that have parent and name only, not function. I understand what you're doing. But at the same time, are the funds, you know, is it hitting everybody? Even kids that are at grade level or above, and the ones behind, they all move forward. That was what my question was. The way the wording is, it's like, if you're low income and behind, we're going to fund and back you up. That's it. But all parents are reading this. You see what I mean?
And one thing, oh, go ahead, go ahead, Dr. Frederickson. Sorry.
I was thinking that that's okay. I think from being a former Title I director prior to this one, I think that is a very good comment, but I do know that the reason the funds are even available are because of serving the underprivileged and those below grade level. Now, that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be other documents out there, because certainly student support, you know, there's programs for gifted, there's the basic funds that the schools get or the school system gets per child that's supposed to be spent on their education. This is supplemental money for those children. And these family engagement policies, and I do like the change from family involvement, parent involvement to family engagement, because I do think that emphasizes a different meaning. So I really like that change that has happened. But pretty much the state requires, you know, we all have these little caveats we can add, but when it comes down to it, there's a federal Title I person at the state level that reviews these and kicks them back if they don't include what is supposed to be. So some of it, we can be very intentional with our words, but some of it is really like a checklist of requirements. And one of those requirements is that we notify people of this. But again, it's kind of like you get X number of money, and Dr. Winborn might be the better one to explain that, but per pupil, what really hurts counties or takes away from that, just like they mentioned earlier, is money comes to Granville County, but if that family is choosing to go to a charter school, even if it's not even in the same district in some cases. If John, lives in Granville County and he's a third grader, his money follows him. So that kind of topples that state funding from that. But this particular money is meant to be used for the purpose that kind of is written there. And you're right. I've had it over the years. People come to me and say, well, why is it saying it? Well, it's saying it because that's what the money is for.
And see,
Can I ask a question? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Dr. Thompson. But I had a general question. I asked our assistant principal the other day. I said, tell more about Title I, because when my brother, he's like 50, was a child in Durham, they had Title I that was actually a reading program. So the reading tutors came in and brought you up, and that's what he was in. So I thought Title I was that, and they explained, no, Ms. Sproul, Title I is federal funding, and because we have X number of low-income kids here at Buckner STEM, it's so much funding we get, but parents have to fill out this lunch application so we get the funds. Now, as a parent, like I said, we got parents and we got parents, okay? Is there any way that you can still get the funding and not count on the parents to fill it out, because you got the numbers, the enrollment, the proof? We have 80,000 shots they have to get in school. As a school system, you can't do that and get your funds?
No, ma'am. We have to have documentation of income, documentation of whether or not the child qualifies as a low income student.
And when you do your lunch application, it automatically does that. It's some kind of way you all need to do the wording, because since, for example, lunches are free across the board this year with FDA, parents are feeling no need to. We need to have some kind of polite threatening message to get your funds through. Man, you can't just have it with your enrollment. Okay, I'm sorry. Side note. But yes, ma'am, thank you, Ms. Frederickson, for explaining.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, though. Your points are right on. I just know that from being on both sides of it now, because I work at the children's home. So we have kids at Cradle, Northern Granville, and Webb. That has to be done. We have to submit all of our kids' names through, because automatically by living here, they qualify for Medicaid, which also puts them on there. So that's why, like, our numbers, if we have 40 kids, that's 40 right there that help. But some people just don't understand the requirements. And even if they write NA on it, or if they put their name on it and, don't complete it, they need to get every form. The more back, and because in the long run, it does help their child, because then the other funds can be more emphasized to, like you're saying, whereas these funds can focus. But it's anytime you're dealing with federal funds, it's like you have a list, and some people don't like the word hoops, but you have to jump through hoops. And if you don't jump through those hoops, you just, when I was getting my doctorate, one of the things that tore me up was when he said, somebody asked, you just got to jump through the hoops. And they're like, we don't want to jump through the hoops. He's like, if you want that doctorate, you'll jump through the hoops. So this is kind of one of the things they're required to do. And I'm really glad they're doing this meeting by Zoom tonight, because sometimes people send stuff home, and I'm guessing, I think I saw if it's recorded, maybe it can be duplicated and shown. But when you help another child grow, you help all children grow. And I think that's where maybe we can help emphasize to those, like, my kid's doing fine. My kid's doesn't need that help. But you're making up some great points. And then Title I, when you talk about that goes back, I remember that as well. Title I money is a federal money. It can be used for multiple things. And there was a time period where a great deal of it was used on reading programs. And so that, because there's this underlying, knowledge that, the more you read and write, the higher chances you'll have to be successful. And there are a lot of reading programs out there like that now. So you're right. But it's still, a lot of people just thought, well, it was Title I reading, but it could be Title I math. It could be Title I assessments. It could be any of these things she's shared.
Yeah, and I'll just piggyback on Dr. Frederickson. Thank you so much, Dr. Frederickson. You've been extremely informative. But I just will piggyback on that, because she's absolutely right. And as I mentioned, a lot of the schools spend their money, their allocation on staffing, but that staffing isn't the same in every school. So some schools still choose to spend that money on providing reading and math intervention support, where, you know, other schools may use that again to maybe reduce class size in certain grade levels. It again is based on data, is based on need, and that need could also change every year. So that's why it's so critically important that we have, you know, functioning school improvement teams that have this support and this input from our families, because again, needs change and that funding is available to meet those needs and address those gaps.
Absolutely.
Can I add something? And I guess just piggybacking off of what Mrs. Sproul said earlier, because I definitely understand the Title I portion of it very much. And then also, but I guess looking at it, and I think if I'm understanding, when we're looking at it as a parent engagement policy for Granville County schools, is that encompassing all, or is it a parent engagement policy for Title I? And so I think that's kind of where the, you know, because it seems like it says if it's a parent engagement, but then it's only kind of referencing Title I. I think that's where there could be, you know, you want all parents engaged. I get that, but I know there's